In this next series of podcast episodes, I get to interview Ayurveda expert Dr. Shivani Gupta. She goes into the principles of Ayurveda, which was founded in India for thousands of years, speaks of ancient wisdom and modern wellness. Dr. Gupta talked about her personal health issues and journey, which stem from childhood sicknesses, and how she solved a lot of her problems using these Ayurveda principles. And of course, one of her favorite things is turmeric, which we all know helps with anti aging, inflammation, and a whole slew of other problems for the over 40 crowd that I didn't even know. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Real quick, is losing weight after 40 while still enjoying your social life a challenge? Well, you're not alone, because that's pretty much everybody. On the Over 40 Fitness Hacks podcast, I share insights from my 15 plus years as a personal trainer and gym owner, helping people like you strike the right balance. For those ready to take action, please sign up for my online personal training program on my website or through the link in the show notes. Together, we'll design a plan that fits your lifestyle and helps you achieve your goals without sacrificing the fun. And remember, everyone is different. We will find a program that works for you. Dr. Shivani, thank you so much for coming on my show. I mentioned before we hit record that I saw you on a podcast longevity summit and was real interested in all the different speakers. You were one of them and you were great, talking about all the different longevity things that we need to worry about being over 40. So glad that you reached out to come on my show. And as always, my first kind of topic, I always like to get to know the guests. How did you get into your health and wellness space? And I'll let you take it away.
For sure. So thank you. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Over 40, that is what I am. I am 43 right now. And boy, does 40 send you on a little journey that you didn't
Yeah.
expect. For me, I started in this world of health and wellness when I was really little. I was born to an immigrant family in Houston, Texas. And every year we would go to India to visit our family. And it turns out that I was the weak link in the family. I would always get sick. I'd be car sick, air sick, seasick, everything sick. And that went on for decades, where by the time I was in my teens, I started asking the question, how come I don't have an immune system and everyone else seems to have one that works? How come I'm always disastrously sick? And so I started learning little tricks, like what foods to avoid, what activities to avoid. Someone coughs or sneezes, run into a different room, like avoid all the things. And I started building my own immune protocol. But it was by the time I got to college that I understood and learned about gut health, how it's tied to the immune system. I was in India and I was so sick this one time, freshman year of college. And we went to the doctor and he's like, gosh, I don't know if we need to hospitalize her. She's really sick. And his name was Dr. Gupta at the time. And he wrote this prescription out for me of 13 medications. And I looked at the list and I looked at him dying sick. And I was like, no, we're not doing this today. You've done this to me for years and years when I've come to India and in the US. Something's not working here. Explain to me what those are for. And so he explained the top one is an antibiotic and all the rest are to manage your symptoms. And I said, well, I'm going to deal with my symptoms. I already am dealing with it. And can you drop your antibiotic down a couple notches so you don't explode my gut again?
Yeah.
And then I can't eat food for weeks. And you forgot probiotics. Like, what is this, guys? You guys aren't looking at the whole picture. And so that was my turning point where I looked at my parents and I said, can we please go explore? We're in the land of yoga and Ayurveda and this ancient wisdom. Can we go figure out if maybe they have solutions for me? Because this system we've been using is not working at all. Because I had been taking chronic antibiotics back in the 80s. If you had a cold, they just wrote you a script for antibiotics. And that was how you treated a cold. And now we know differently. Now we know that doesn't help with a virus. And so that led me on this beautiful journey. I traveled through India. I detoxed with Ayurveda. I learned all about it. And if you don't know what Ayurveda is, it's this entire ancient system of medicine and health and healing from India that's over 5,000 years old.
Hmm.
And it's a sister science to yoga. So it's this powerful tool kit that we have that we don't think of. We think of acupuncture, chiropractic, Reiki, massage, which are beautiful, homeopathic medicine, naturopathic medicine. I think all the toolkits are incredible. And usually when people are like dying at their last door, they find Ayurveda. And so my dream is just to show everyone up front that we have this whole lifestyle we can live by that can change our health completely. Because it did so for me. It taught me how to heal my gut, how to live according to my circadian rhythm, how to use the super spices like turmeric to reduce my inflammation, heal my gut, defend my immune system, and stay healthy. Then Ayurveda teaches us a lot about self-care and how to detox daily because of the toxic burden we're all under. Then we learned about gut health and the Sattvic diet and how to eat in a rhythm using variety, nutrient density, all these things that give us the health that we want. So Ayurveda for me really changed my life. I'm now like, I have an immune system of steel. I'm obsessed with health and I'm grateful that I am because over 40 is definitely something that rocked my world. I just hit my mid 40s and I was like, what is this? And me and all my friends are suffering through perimenopause and this transition point. And I think we have to double down on our health. I don't think there's really a choice in your 40s if you want to stay vibrant, have a brain that's focused and productive, have gut health that defends you, have energy levels to continue to do things at the pace that you always did. And so that's really the journey I've been on. And what's cool is over the last 10 years, I did my master's in Ayurvedic sciences. I did my PhD on turmeric, the spice. And that got me really obsessed with what turmeric can do for us. As someone who's had a family history of diabetes and all the different diseases that happen in my family, I thought, wow, turmeric does so much for inflammation, healing the body. It's so well received by so many different cells in the body. And so once I did my PhD, I went about creating a turmeric formula because I wanted to see, can we create things in the botanical world, in the herbal supplement world, that are as potent to help us with reducing inflammation when we're in pain or when we need support. And so that's just been my journey over the
Yeah.
last couple decades. And now in my 40s, thank God I have this toolkit that I need to help reduce inflammation and stay healthy.
Yeah, I've been into the holistic world, and it's funny. People say Western medicine or Eastern medicine, just think Chinese culture, but no, there's a million other cultures, and with thousands of years, like you said, we're here in Western society, we're just not that long. But I grew up with a medical doctor and grew up with all that kind of stuff. My dad trying to shove antibiotics down and all that. And thank God I said no to a lot of stuff. I refuse to take anything, refuse to take any flu shots. I'd rather suffer and just take the bare minimum. When I needed something, I took it if it was that bad. So, yeah.
And that happened to so many of us. We grew up, took whatever we were told. It's only now I'm a mom of a middle schooler in high school. And I really think, like, since they were born, I've been really careful about how much we use antibiotics. Can we avoid it? What are the natural solutions? But that's really a more recent mindset of, hey, like I suffered enough using those solutions. I need natural alternatives.
Yeah. And some of the things I discovered, I did some research. I didn't get a master's or PhD in certain things, just didn't have time or the desire. I really just started listening to other people out there, trying things. And pretty much after 35, that's when my body started falling apart. I just used over 40 as the a stick. But really listening to my body when I was using things or products or supplements and finding out that certain things weren't working that great and changing them. And then how well, if once you're in tune with your body and you can listen to how it's performing, and I journal everything, then I started curing all sorts of things. Like I cured my environmental allergies, my blood pressure, aches and pains, energy levels. It's just insane when Western medicine wants you just to take a pill for everything.
Right.
So
And that's
I,
the thing is Western medicine is so good when we have acute problems. When I need a surgery, like when everything's on fire and I've got a problem, yes, thank you for like handling me in the hospital or whatever. Thankfully, knock on wood, I don't have those kinds of issues. But I find when it comes to these chronic metabolic issues and chronic inflammatory issues that honestly happen, they accumulate as we age. It's our job to peel back each layer and take off that burden on the body so the body can be healthy. And you're right, we're all explorers. We're all wellness explorers on this journey because we're bio individual.
yeah.
So each of us is going to have a different recipe for what works for us. But it is right around 35 to 40, somewhere in that window. The body is just like, nope, we're changing the whole formula on you and you need to go figure it out again, which is a whole project.
So does Ayurveda is part of the core philosophy, like other core philosophies I've seen in the holistic wellness being that your gut is pretty much 90% of the problem for everything else. Is that the same in Ayurveda?
Yes,
Okay.
Ayurveda says that gut health is the center of all health. And we call gut health Agni. We call it a digestive fire. And that fire controls your mental health, your mood, your energy levels. It controls your immune system. If it's weak, it's not going to digest the food. It's not going to give you vitality and energy. If it's too strong, you're going to have heartburn and different issues. And so our whole science, our whole system is oriented around gut health. And so that's what I tell most people is you've got a problem, look at the gut first. That's usually the root. And so we have to have these practices to address it regularly. Like, unfortunately, you can't heal your gut once and win. Unfortunately, I wish that was true. We have to regularly be ready to support our gut health if we want to reduce inflammation, stay healthy, have a good immune system, not have a leaky gut and things that impact everything else.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing I started working on last year was leaky gut. Just whatever I did in my 20s, I can promise you half of it was alcohol abuse. All these different allergies that I got. I like talking about it on my show, food allergies mostly, because I've had anaphylactic shock 3 times, scared the crap out of me. And
Wow.
I'm allergic to milk, beef, like the list goes on. And most recently, I picked up from a bad stomach virus. And literally, like 2 days later, I picked up a FPIES food allergy to chicken and egg. And
Wow.
since which I've, with my doctor's help and some holistic supplements and stuff, now 4 months later, eating eggs and chicken to full amounts again when it was giving me intense upper GI pain. And I was like, wow, leaky gut. And it's still not in at least Western medicine, it's not a fact yet and not FDA approved symptom. And my dad doesn't believe it either, but 100% believe it. And I just saw it work for umpteenth time. So,
Yeah, isn't it interesting? And I find that happens a lot is we in the holistic integrative medicine space are like, this is a problem. And all of Western medicine's like, that doesn't exist.
oh,
Or we're like,
God.
this is a problem. We are actively solving this all day long. The supplement companies are in there. Like we are, I literally thought today, I was like, you went to Italy this summer and you ate gluten. You are actually running a baseline of inflammation that you are battling. Do you realize that? You have to address leaky gut. That was my thought this morning as I was getting ready for your show. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you have to do a leaky gut protocol. But my brain started designing it. And I was like, in Ayurveda, we teach we must detox seasonally because these issues come along. They cause damage in the system. And our job is to heal them so they can release us and let us move forward healthy. But most people don't realize it. And if they go to their doctor, the doctor's going to say, that's just not it. You don't need a detox. You have a liver and a kidney that does it. There's no such thing as leaky gut. What are you talking about intestinal permeability? That's just not true. When in fact, all the ancient sciences said we must detox, we must cleanse, we must purify, and we must honor the gut and revere it to stay healthy. Just two different viewpoints.
But you know what? I have seen the new age of doctors coming out. A lot of them osteopaths, and then
Yes.
some that get out of the corporate structure, go on their own, that usually called direct primary cares or concierge doctors, and they seem to adopt some of this too. So I eventually this is going to become mainstream, which I love. But
Yeah.
um,
And they're starting to study functional medicine and things like that. So because they're going after that knowledge and wisdom, trying to understand what are these bigger root causes and what are the approaches, we're seeing that big shift, which is really cool.
yeah.